Welcome to the Dave Chang Show, part of the Ringer Podcast Network, presented by Major W Media. Thank you all for as always. Don't forget to check out full episodes and clips of our show on the YouTube channel, The Dave Chang Show, at The Dave Chang Show. All right, we have an interview with Chef Sean Gray of the Sergeantsville Inn, formerly of Co. We talk about him a lot on this podcast over the years. We're really excited about his new endeavor at a very old restaurant, so go check that out. I can't wait to eat there myself. And then we're going to do a MOIF with a very rare appearance, somebody that used to be our friend of the show. And this person's name is Noelle. And I would imagine people are like, that's why we listen to the show to begin with. Not because of Dave, not because of Chris, but because of Noelle. And that's why we don't want her on the show too much. She steals all the thunder. So Noelle will join us for a quick MOIF. We're joined with Sean Gray. He was the chef of Co. We worked together for many years. I remember meeting him first when he was working for Doug Saltis at
Country.
Oh, that was a good one. Country was good.
It was very cool.
God, that was a 2005?
Yes.
6?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Maybe 2006.
That was a loaded kitchen for those that maybe don't remember. And Doug Saltis was the chef de cuisine at the French Laundry. And then he worked for Ducasse and he opened up a bunch of things. And I think he's now in Chicago, but he had a really great kitchen. And you know, we were lucky then that Sean came over and he worked pretty much at all the restaurants and wound up running Co after Serpico left, and then transitioned to lead the team at the current location at 8 Extra Place. And then, you know, pandemic happens. You wanted to work on some your own things. And I mean, I heard a bunch of rumors that you were doing a bunch of different things, but I knew all along, just from talking to you, that you always wanted to open up something in New Jersey, right? You've had that ambition for many years.
Yeah, I mean, long time. It's like any person that works in a city wants to work not in a city, you know, and everyone in the country wants to work in the city. But yeah, you know, you see these old school cookbooks and you have that romanticized vision of, you know, running that country inn with the fireplace and the roasted chicken and, you know, potatoes and all that kind of stuff. And it's beautiful, you know, it's beautiful out here. So it was always an almost possible dream, you know.
So you were living out there, commuting into the city, working at Co. So you were like coming in from the bucolic countryside, seeing these inns and taverns and things, and like going to like maybe the most city of city settings you could possibly be asked for, right?
Yeah, it was it's 62 and a half miles from here to First Street. And you know, out here it's completely different. Like it might as well be, you know, Western Pennsylvania. And yeah, I made that drive, you know, every day for probably almost 4 years. And then when we finally, you know, made the move, and I just stayed here full time.
And the restaurant you took over, you started basically as a regular, right?
Yeah. It's my local bar. You know, it's a mile, like 1.2 miles from my house, and would go there days off, sit there, have lunch, you know, have a beer, talk to the bartenders, and over time started spending more and more time there. You know, I'd go in 2 nights a week, 3 nights a week. Became really close with some of the regulars, and this one guy, like I never told anyone there that like I had worked like in restaurants before. I was just like a guy that lived, you know, down the street. But started becoming really friendly with this one guy and ended up taking him to Co on the last week before it closed. And you know, we developed that relationship where he was just like, "You got to meet the owners of this place. Love to get you involved. You know, this place needs help." So one thing led to another. You know, we kept talking and talking and talking, and then I was like, "Well, I can help out a little bit," and then that turned into a lot. You know, that turned into it looks a lot easier on TV, you know, I'm sure. As you know, like it turned into this, you know, bigger project that required it was either like that all or nothing kind of thing, you know, or it's just like, all right, I'm gonna do this now. I have to like put myself behind it. And that was about like maybe 8 months ago.
And Dave, can I ask you this? Has Sean always anxiously played with a pen while he was talking to you?
Yes.
No, Sean's not a fidgeter, you know. Sean is one of the Sean's Sean. I mean,
Did you think did you know that Sean wanted to be a country boy?
No, when he moved out there, I thought he was fucking insane. I was like, "How are you gonna do that fucking commute?" But, he was born and raised in that area, so it's something that he wanted, and, um,
Mhm.
and I know that he may not like tinkering with pens, but he likes tinkering with things.
Mhm.
I think what makes Sean, when when I say that out loud, it sounds so fucking stupid, but I think Sean is takes his time to assess the situation and wants to find a way to like make it work in a way that is like like optimal efficiency on everything. Um, and I think when he gets to that end goal, it's usually an extremely beautiful, delicious, or sometimes awesome product. Like he likes working on mechanical things in general. Like you still working on your bike all the time, I would imagine.
Not as often as I would like, but yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and just and for a kitchen and all the moving pieces, that was sort of it too. It's like tinkering with a recipe and taking an idea, getting inspired by something that I honestly I think it's the same sort of thought process that I think for anybody that sort of flourished at Momofuku. It's taking an idea that wasn't necessarily cool and making sure that no one else would sort of lay claims on it, and that takes time. And then putting in the homework and the time and effort into developing an idea around that idea and techniques and um, having something that looks simple, deceivingly complex, but also has your fingerprints on it. And I mean, I always think about the time, you know, it's good that you brought up the word tinkering because I think that's what Sean does with ideas. When he was so excited about the 7 bone steak, and I think that was at the grocery store near where you're living, and he was just like, "Dude, there's crazy fucking steak, this cut, this comes from the chuck, and all of these things." And it was like a old school cut that isn't really used, and it took some time to figure out how to serve it because of all the different cuts of meat on it. It's not something you could just easily grill and serve up. It takes some know-how. And to see Sean work on this, because the idea of this was that just like a local regular supermarket, and to take this sort of lost cut and to turn it into something really taste luxurious and delicious, to me, that was, you know, Sean Gray in a nutshell.
What was that? So I only ever saw that, and like this is the steak you're talking about. Is this like the thing that John Candy ate in the Great Outdoors? Basically, this like giant,
Yeah,
enormous,
the old 96er.
the old 96er. So this is a real. I only saw this on Instagram, like from far away, but like, what the hell is this thing? It's like a real thing.
Yeah, apparently, yeah, it was, at the local ShopRite by my house. I guess it's a cut that, throughout the year, they would break down that part of the shoulder, and it would go into grind for burgers and stuff like that. And, this woman that was running the butcher department, she's like, "Yeah, well, we don't sell a lot of burgers, November, December, January." She's like, "So we run off a couple of these, and we just sell it as a steak." And at the ShopRite, this is like a, I don't know, 1 pound, 1.5 pound steak, and it's like $6, and I'm like, this is crazy. Um, so we start like looking into it, start talking with the guys that we were getting beef from at Co. Like, hey, do you know about this? And he was like, oh, let me ask the guys that cut it, and so eventually we get to this program where I was like, just rip that part for us. We'll take it at the restaurant. They're all going to be like varying weights and sizes. But yeah, he was like the guys at the whatever meat packing plant. They're like, where is this going? Because it came in and it's like 6 pounds, 6, 7, 8 pounds. Um, and then it's like, here it is, and here's this thing, and that whole back and forth with, the meat supplier being like, okay, like the cut on this side is no good, the cut on that side is no good. Like we want these four in the middle. And then like, all of this work has now been done and we've yet to really like cook this thing well. So now it was like, all right, well, we have to like figure this out. So
What did that process end up being? How did you? I mean, like, so the idea, like, this
it's
is not a steak. This is not a traditional. Like, it's a weird cut. It's got a ton of different muscles that are all going to be different
yeah,
levels of tenderness and cookability.
yeah. So it's like this thing where we're like the visual of it, it looks great, but then when we would go to serve it, it's like, okay, this piece we know, like this cut of this one section has like a really gnarly rubber band that like we have to trim out. And then in the second you trim that out, it just kind of like relaxes the meat. And it's like this part we can cut it a little thicker. This needs to be sliced a little thinner. Um, but it came down to like we need to cure it for at least a day, and then we would cook it like confit kind of style. It was like beef fat, a bit of oil, and butter. But we would do it quick. It was like high temperature for like an hour and a half, and then it was like rested in that fat for like 2 hours to bring the temp down, and then take it out of the fat, get it on a rack, and then get it like straight in the fridge, and it would like crust. The fat would crust over the top, and then we would cook it in the what is it, the salamander or the broiler or whatever, just to get that char on the outside, and then we could slice it. Um, yeah, so it was it was a lot of moving parts, but
But would you serve this? So this was you guys served this at Co,
yeah, in the bar
and like you served it for one person, two people, like what?
could be. I mean, it was like on a night we would have like different weights, so it'd be like, hey, we have you know a 5.7 pound steak, we have a 7.8, we have an 8.2. And I don't remember how it was. It was like aggressively priced, where it was like $100, and it's like, this 5 pound thing, and it would come out on a big paella pan. Um, we serve it with, I think for a while it was like a bloomin' onion and different sauces and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So it was kind of like I don't know, like a sizzling fajita, or like some kind of party trick where it's like it comes out and the whole dining room is like, what is that thing? Because it's on this giant tray. Um, and then, yeah, then people can kind of like tear into it. It's kind of fun.
I mean, I hope those that are listening are a cook. It's like I've always said, Sean's one of the best minds out there in terms of like trying to think about the all of the roads that get to the dish, right? And again, I'm so glad you brought up the word tinkering, right? Because that's what he does, and I think that once he gets to a place where I feel like the recipe's in a good place, it doesn't mean that he's not going to revisit it. Then he puts his mind, on another project and another project, and then next thing you know, you have all of these things. And I think right around that time, like before the seven bone, it was the cold fried chicken, which again, I think is the best fucking. It's that recipe is a fucking pain in the ass to make. It's extremely laborious, but you took it to a place that is, I think, the best Korean fried chicken recipe I've ever had anywhere. You know, but again, like that's just when I say that's just who Sean is, it's like he's going to find a way, and it's not your normal way you think about making a fried chicken. It just takes a lot of effort, a lot of thought to sort of re-engineer a way that works.
I was gonna say it's such an interesting thing. Like, I assume most of our audience is like pretty well informed in terms of dining, have had a lot of experiences. But like, if there are people who have not had an opportunity to eat at restaurants like Co or at the Co bar or places like this, like, and you think it's maybe I don't know, it's like this kind of fine dining is uptight or whatever. Like basically, Sean just told a whole story about, like, how he encountered a crazy steak at a shop right near his house that is the same one they had at, like, the great outdoors and found a way of serving that in this setting. Like, that's the coolest shit to me. Like, that's, like, the most fun version of fine dining to me is when, chefs of the highest caliber can take, like, what Dave described as, like, a dumb idea. Like, let's try to serve that insane steak from that John Candy movie, and you do something, like, spectacular and fun and like you said, Sean, like show stopping, right? That thing comes out in a dining room, especially like a nice dining room, and you're like, wait, what the hell's happening? Is that 96 old 96er from like the great outdoors? Like that's insane. So I wanted to ask, like you said you brought like like one of the managers or something from your current restaurant. Like they didn't know that you were a chef. They didn't know who you were. You were just a regular. Like, what was that? What was their impression when you brought them to Co for that first time? We're like, what the fuck have you been hiding this from us this whole time? Like, what was that meal like for them?
It was awesome. Yeah, he didn't work at the restaurant. He was like another patron and kind of this like, town um legend, like just this guy that could connect any two people in the room to some other kind of thread. But yeah, it was awesome. Like, we're there and he's having the chicken with the caviar, we're drinking like some crazy cocktails and he was just like taking in um like the whole environment, like watching someone kind of just like be in a restaurant, and kind of um I don't know, just like observing, service and food and other people. And it's like, to see a restaurant where every single person is like happy, everyone's having a great time, everything's like hitting, and all the food is great. And he was just like, kind of looking at me like, why, why would you leave this? Like, are you, like this is great. Like why would you want to not exist in this forever? And that was kind of like where our conversation went. He was kind of I don't know, it was fun. It was just like a lot of fun to like take someone out of their environment, take it into the city, and he knew, at this point I, worked in restaurants and stuff, but just to see the level that that Co was executing at for him, it was kind of it was cool for me, because I feel like so much of our audience that we had there for years was incredibly familiar with the story, knew the trajectory, knew like had read the press, read the reviews.
Like knew where they were going, knew like
Yeah,
had been to
they knew the
restaurants like
deal.
this before, were
Yeah,
diners, were fancy diners, right? Like that's fucking awesome. That's like
it is cool. Yeah, and I love that. Like I had that same feeling like when my parents came to eat, because they kind of like, were never like there like the whole way through working at Co. They would, I feel like they came to the old space like, I honestly think it was like lunch, friends and family.
hmm,
Mhm.
So what I don't know when that would have been, 2008,
2009.
9.
so crazy.
And then they came again on I think they like surprised me and they came in for like my birthday at the new space. But it was always cool to see their reaction where they're like, everybody here knows who you are. And I'm like, yeah. Or they're like, hey, like that guy Dave, he's really nice. I'm like, yeah, like so it was always just a trip, for so many people that know so much detail about like what a restaurant's doing, to then just like share it with someone that's just
Yeah.
they've never heard of it, never thought of it. So
I mean, in Chang, I know in like the pantheon of like people who come to a restaurant, there's a lot of, you call them PX or, VIPs that come in, but like, are the parents and families of staff and chefs like the kind of highest level of PX?
I don't know if they're the highest. Yeah, they're not the highest level, but you want them to have the best time.
Yeah.
You know what I
In
mean?
terms of what you
Everybody
care
knows.
about. Yeah.
Oh yeah, everybody knows like they're gonna have the best fucking time.
Yeah. That's like I always think about like the kitchen people and cooks and chefs who like miss so much family stuff and so rarely get to feed their family in like your setting, like at Co at any Momofuku restaurant. Like that's got to be like the best feeling is being able to like show them a good time.
I want to change it up a little bit because Sean was running, you know, I'm biased here, one of the best restaurants out there at Co Bar turned out to be a place that I love tremendously. How different was that menu? I feel like maybe you texted me. Uh, was there a TV in the bar at your restaurant originally?
oh, the now, yeah, there is.
Yeah. Was there one before?
Yeah, it was. I think it was kind of always on the wall. It's like a matter
Yeah.
of whether it was on or not.
I think he sent us a photo of the LG channel.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, remember? I was like,
yeah,
"Wow, that's so weird."
yeah.
Majordomo channel on the LG. And I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, that's gotta be it." So, can you give us a little bit about first the town, and then what was this restaurant serving before?
Yeah, the town is. I mean, it's so small. You know what I mean? It's like there's a blinking stop sign. It's a four-way intersection. Um, there's a grain and feed. There's like a general store. There's this restaurant. There's a blacksmith shop, like for real.
An
There's
unironic, not Brooklyn-based blacksmith shop, like a real blacksmith. That's a fucking
It's
amazing.
also a local radio station, like a local FM station, which is kind of cool. WDVR. They're like it's great programming. It's all like, just miscellaneous from bluegrass to like folk and country and stuff. We used to have a post office. Like we lost the post office, so it's kind of a big thing, But it's a small community, and it's really it's a lot of farmers. So it's this weird intersection. There's a lot of like people out here have a lot of land. There's still like big working farms. Big like couple 100-acre farms, to whether it's cattle or pigs or um, even produce. Like some of the guys that sell at Union Square and stuff like that are out here. And then next to that is, you have like a lot of like people that work in the city, either Philly or New York. So it's this weird kind of intersection of people that have been here forever, and then people that moved here in the past 5 to 10 years. Um, but it's a sleepy place, and the inn has always kind of been that place where like everyone's there. It's like the whole kit. It's like everyone knows each other's kids. The all the kids that work at the restaurant know other people through their friends at high school, and whatever. And it's just I don't know. It's like an amazing thing to be a part of. It's like the township buildings across the street. And they have like the planning meeting on Tuesday nights, and they come over after, and have beers together. And um, there's a small school down the street. The teachers are in after a
It's like an
Friday afternoon.
incredibly romantic version of a restaurant, like maybe like the
Yeah,
original intention of a restaurant. Like this is the
1,000%.
central center of of a town, of a place. This is where
I mean,
people.
honestly, if you know Sean, this is like the most Sean Gray town.
It's
Uh,
awesome.
it's like so you,
Yeah,
and this kind of local restaurant pub is so you. Um,
yeah.
what was how many seats originally, and what's the menu? What was on the menu?
Well, it's kind of always been kind of like an American style restaurant. Like through the 80s, I think 80s and 90s, like it was very popular out here to have like these wild game menus, where they were serving like rattlesnake and like elk and like
Fuck.
ostrich and stuff like that. That was like, and I remember that from my first job. My first cooking job was down the street from here, and we were serving that kind of stuff. Like we had a wild game menu, with alligator and like just crazy stuff. And they they got really well known for that. Like this inn in particular. I think I never got to eat there back in the day, but from what people say, like that wild game thing was very popular, and the chef was like pretty passionate about it and like did it well. Um, they always had like two kind of concepts, like that high low kind of thing, where it's like half the restaurant could be like a full like refined like multi-course meal, and then next door there's the bar with you know drinking Coors Light and Yingling and a cheeseburger. So it's always been whatever anyone wants it to be, I guess, is like the best way to describe it. Like very tavern food. They always did a great job with like rotating specials in and out, because it was a pretty captive audience that was eating there. And yeah, I don't know. I always fell in love with the building itself, like the room, like sitting in the room. It's all stone and the big fireplaces and all that kind
That
of stuff.
sounds like an incredibly difficult place to take over if you have any intention of changing anything.
Yeah, well, it's been very slow, and like I guess like looking at the bones of the menu, like the way it's written, nothing's really changed. It's like a half roasted chicken, the New York strip, it's a pork chop with sweet potatoes, um, cheeseburger, onion rings.
Mhm.
That's like what the menu is right now. But it's kind of like, I mean, going back to the fried chicken and the seven bone, it's like how much, like whether a person knows how much technique is in something or not, I guess it doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter,
Right.
as long as it's like this excellent thing. But yeah, so it's just been a very slow, build, just kind of like, all right, we're going to do this now, like this. and not change any wording on the menu. And then the chicken comes out and people are like, this is great.
So what have you? What is different about the chicken now, as an example?
I really wanted to do just like a half chicken. I really didn't want to have it be this like crazy long pickup time. So it was just like, what can we do on the front end to like make sure it's as good as it possibly can be, and like, I think the number one thing I was scared of was like us serving a half chicken, someone cutting into it, and it's like, it looks undercooked. So I'm like, all right, let's split them. Like, we'll wash them, we'll salt them for at least 18 hours, and then we're going to cook them. We do them in like a bag, making using like some koji, like creamy koji, bunch of shallots, some fats and stuff like that. And then the pickup is now like 6 minutes. We do it on a green egg, and it's like started on the cage for 5 minutes, flip it over, give it 2 more minutes on the skin side, and it's like done, and it's great. And everything is already kind of like there, and the pickup stays simple, but like the end product, I think, is pretty awesome.
And you're just using the koji that the Sergeantsville Inn was already using when you arrived. It's the same.
Yes.
Aspergillus.
Yes. It's a very secret recipe.
Did you bring your hamburger over, or is it a different kind of hamburger?
I did. It's round now. And it's
I love this hamburger. I mean, listen, everything Sean makes, I'm a huge fan of, but his hamburger bun was a hot dog bun. And the only place that served a hot dog bun was the Olympic Golf Club. And I mean, I don't know if I ever told you this. All those members were up in arms. They're like, "You stole our fucking hot dog." I was like,
"Oh no way!"
Shit!
Yeah, they were all pissed.
The burger dog.
You stole our hamburger bun. I was like, no. Trust me, Sean doesn't give a fuck about that.
Are you hoping people from outside the community take notice and come?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's been a lot of everything. Like, we get a lot of people in that have driven past the inn for years. We have a lot of people that just have a standing reservation, and they come every Tuesday, or they come every Thursday.
That's awesome.
That's fucking awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah, we have a two-top every Tuesday, 7:00.
How many seats?
I don't know. I want to say 80-ish, maybe 85. But yeah, we have a number of people that they just want to be in the space every week.
It's a beautiful space.
I mean, the hope for me is like that the people that have been supporting it forever, it's still theirs, and like they've been kind of they've been a part of the transition. You know what I mean? Like, they've been included in like the transition. Like, it was never just like hey, we're going to take over this thing, we're going to close for 3 months, reopen it. It was like just this very slow, like, let's meet everyone first. Let's like, and then just little bits and pieces at a time. And people do come up from Philly, which I think is awesome. To like have like a younger couple come in, and they're like, yeah, we rented a car and drove up for the day, we just wanted to check it out. And the rest of the room is the people that eat there every Thursday. And that's and I like that. I like that.
That seems like that. That's what I mean when I was like taking over a place like this. I can think of a few other examples of chefs who have sort of carried on without like closing a restaurant, reopening it as something new, have tried to carry on a restaurant, like bringing the regulars with you, bringing the community with you, and not making it feel like, whoa, like, what's this fancy guy coming in here and fucking up our stuff? Like, everything's different now.
I mean, like, really, this has a lot of British pub vibes, right? I mean, so many great pubs in England are now operated by a great chef, and I think it sort of started with Ferguson, the Heinz Head, which has a Michelin star. And honestly, what you've done sort of was like, I could totally see this whole thing becoming a Heston-like thing, right? Where you leave the city because of your sort of temperament, commitment to excellence, because it just becomes this other thing where literally it goes back to like a culinary destination that's like worth a detour and stuff like that. And this is the beginning of that journey. It's pretty fucking cool.
It is cool, man.
How's the Asian food out by you, Sean?
There is some quality tucked in here and there.
Yeah,
there's a place in Buckingham that I go to. Yeah, it's a pretty decent Vietnamese place. Towards Princeton, there's some good options too. But I mean, Where where I'm at, there's not much.
I,
Yeah,
I had a hunch.
Hey, Sean, like
yeah.
you Co's always had some of the best and brightest cooks, and you were so good at building that team. How has it been like assembling a team outside of the city?
It's been cool, and it's been very different. Like I feel like the first couple months I was kind of spending a lot of time front of house, and it was amazing to work with, kids that are like actually in high school. And then, if you had like a group of like, 20 kids and there's like 3 or 4 that I'm like, you're like you are good at this. Like you are cut out for this work. And I've got Omi, who's our general manager. He used to work at Co as well, which was amazing. Like he sent me a message and was like, "Hey, are you really going to do this thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to do it." And he was like, "This might sound crazy." He's running a place in Detroit called Ladder 4. He's like, "Let me come out and just help you out for like a month or two." And he's stayed on full time. And I think like now it's like people are seeing what's happening there, and most of our front of house staff that we've hired has been customers,
Right.
people that were eating there and they're like I've done this before, like I worked in a restaurant in college, or I really just like what you guys are doing, like I'd love to be a part of this. And it's like, all right, well, you can show up tomorrow, you can just do it. And in the kitchen too, it's been like there's a guy reached out to me and he was like, I'd love to come in and just help. He's like, I can give you like 3 mornings a week, from 8 to 3. And I'm like, cool. And then, other people in the kitchen are, it's their first job, or, it's like a loyal crew of guys that have been with the sous chef for a long time. And it's just like, this is how we're going to do this, is how we're going to do that. And it's been amazing to see like the progression. A lot of the high school kids, man, they come back and they're like, they went away to college for that first semester or whatever, and a couple of them came back, and worked over the winter break, and they were all like, "Man, they're like, I can't believe how much this has changed since like September." And I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh, it feels so good to be back." They're like hooked, and it's been cool. And like these kids, man, like their parents come in, and their parents are like, "He is obsessed with working here," and I'm like, "Yeah." Like, and so it's been amazing to see, it's like to go, anyone can do anything if they want to do it, I guess, like plenty of time to learn. It's like we're going to do it for 40 hours every week. You'll eventually get good at it. So yeah, it's been very cool to see the team kind of like grow and like, push each other, Omi's got doing wine classes, and like everyone's like, "Hey, I want to learn about that. Like what's this wine? Like where's that from?" Um, so it's been cool, man.
Well, Sean, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I mean this. Like, my son, he's like 5 now, and it's crazy. Like becoming a cook, I think, has gone through a lot of iterations culturally. But I truly believe in like, with AI and all the stuff that's happening, cooking is going to become like a real profession in a serious way because it's hard to learn what you know. And if Hugo ever said like, "Hey, I wanna learn how to cook. I want to do something," I wouldn't send him to New York City or SF. I'd be like, you know what? You should work for Sean Gray. You should move out. And like, I think, and I've always said this, like, you are a remarkable teacher, extremely patient. And if I was just starting out but I wanted to see like how to learn, how to think, and how to cook, I would definitely send them to you, like no question. I can't,
Well,
and
thanks.
I can't say that about anybody or everybody. I would definitely would say like if you anybody that's listening, you're like, man, like the reason you don't want to be in a big kitchen in the city is it's hard to sort of learn sometimes.
Mm.
You're just sort of thrust into the mix, and you're like, okay, we know that this is going to be a rotating position, but just what you're saying, when somebody that's working sort of part time comes back and they want to stay, like I think that's it's an environment I know that you're able to create. And yeah, I would send anybody that's trying to learn like go move to New Jersey. It's way cheaper too.
Man, it does sound fucking romantic, and like I wanna eat there, man. I know it seems insane to go across the country to eat at an inn, but like, man, that
Do
seems
you have any
amazing.
desire, Sean, to like? I don't wanna say, I bet you the answer is no. but to take the menu to like super ambitious levels?
Uh, maybe, like it's kind of
Not to say that
uh,
what you're doing isn't, I know, you
yeah,
know what I mean, but
yeah, I know what you
like
mean.
I could totally see Sean trying to make a restaurant or a menu or part of it that's like, hey, we're gonna get fucking 3 Michelin stars. You
Mm.
know, let's just fucking
Mm.
do it. Certainly capable of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I guess I want it to just grow organically, and the guys that own it are kind of in that like they're like believers. They're like, all right, they're like, let's just keep doing this thing. Um, the town's happy, it's like the staff is happy. Um, people coming for the first time are happy. You know, I think as the team grows, the complexity will grow, like as people get better at what they're doing and as we learn what's possible within the space. Space has a lot of constraints too. It's like basement kitchens, a dumb waiter, there's all these different levels and dining rooms. Um, but like, yeah, I mean, I fantasize about year 5. Um,
Listen, if the fat duck can do it, right? They had not porta potties, like outhouses, you know, uh, and I actually think there's a lot of similarities to Patrick O'Connell in a Little Washington, which I don't know if you've been, but
I've driven past it, but I never got to eat
yeah,
there yet.
seems similar to the story that you're talking about right now, right? You know,
Yeah.
it's 2.5 hours outside Washington D.C. in this podunk town in Virginia, and over really almost 40 years, it's become, and for most of the duration, people knew that this place was special, and you know, it's an iconic place, and it's a sort of a landmark and institution. So, I mean, I think either way you want to do it, I think I could see, you know, a lot of different scenarios, but I think more importantly, it's like, it's all going to be good because you're doing what you want to do.
It's a good feeling to be in the restaurant, kind of like just having people just loving the hamburger, having people loving the fried chicken. It's like, it's awesome. Sitting in there watching the Eagles win, Dave, is
Hey,
great,
hey, 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 hey,
you
hey.
know?
We're
Oh god. Oh god.
hey, hey, hey. Um,
We
when this comes
almost
out, the
made it.
Commanders, well, we'll see what happens. But um,
Yes.
here's the next question, and we'll sort of wrap it up. Are you ready for like national media and press and critics and people stopping by and changing? You know, they want to put their narrative on the thing. Like, how do you control that, Sean? Because it's going to
Mm.
happen. You know what I mean? Like Food and Wine, Bon
A lot of
Appetit. Like,
help from a lot of help from friends. I don't know. Like it's a I guess I guess the thing I've seen happen the most when people have come in that are outside of like this immediate community is like it's very immediately clear like what the story of the restaurant is. Where it's like the fixtures and the people that are in the bar in the restaurant. It's like it would be very difficult to create a different narrative than the one that it already is. Like that's like very visible. It's like, oh, this is a guy that just got done, cutting hay for 17 hours and he's here having a burger and a beer. And it's like, and I know him, and it's like, and he comes in and we're bullshitting, and it's like, and it's great. And it's like, that's like the long and short story. It's like it's very real, so I don't know what else I could do to be prepared or, I don't know.
well, we're there. We're here to help however we can. What's the best way for people to go there? Is there a place? Is there like a hotel or is there an inn?
There is a couple inns in the area. There's one called the Wolverton Inn, which is nearby. It's like a really cute bed and breakfast. There's also a place called the Stockton Inn, which has been through a recent kind of rebuild. It's another restaurant that's been out here. I remember guys working there in high school, like when I was a kid, but it's been closed for the past 20 years. So like that's reopened. So there's rooms there. There's a lot of these cool little bed and breakfast kind of in places out here. There's no real like huge, center town center kind of thing. It's just little 6-7 room bed and breakfasts.
Next time my wife and I are in New York City, which is very rare these days, we're gonna have a proper hang.
Yeah, so you have to come see it.
I
It's
can't
pretty
wait.
cool.
I love you dearly, man. I'm so happy for your the sense of calm. You know what I mean? Like, I think most people are like, "Oh, Sean sounds pretty calm," but
Mm-mm.
I think you're content.
I am. Yeah, it's cool, man. It's good. It's a good feeling.
You know, you deserve it. So I'm so happy for you.
No, I mean, you're happy for him. I'm extraordinarily jealous of him. I want this sense of calm. This seems fucking awesome. Sean, man, congratulations, though. Seriously, man. It seems
Thanks,
fucking
guys.
awesome and romantic.
Long time no see. Hi, Noelle.
Hi, Dave. It's so weird. You know, it's
I
just
know.
like the old pod days when you were at home, we were all at home, and now we're just broadcasting a full news segment over here without you.
I'm sheltering in place.
Yeah.
It is so. If you're listening to this on anything other than our at the Dave Chang Show YouTube channel or on Spotify, you should switch over immediately just to get the visual of Noelle at the news desk here. It is truly worth just shifting over to another platform right now just so you can see this.
This morning on the Chris and Noelle show, our special guest, David Chang.
Coming to us live. We got a MOIF, right, Dave?
Yes, we do.
That's what we brought Noelle in here for. My opinion is fact. I'm going to dive right in here.
Go.
If you've ever shopped at a grocery store, you know there's the little rubber or plastic divider that gets placed between people's orders on the conveyor belt, right? I mean, the last time we heard about this, Dave was maybe bleeding all over one around the holidays last year. My opinion is fact. Is it your responsibility to place the rubber divider after your groceries for the next person? Do you place the divider down?
Is that a normal? I think that's the normal thing to do. I feel like the calculation I'm doing right now is, is my responsibility before or after? And I think it's after.
Mr. Chang?
I definitely think it's your responsibility, but I'm also thinking of situations where sometimes there isn't one available, right?
Oh, they haven't been restocked into the little channel next to them.
And for whatever reason, the other person in front of you can't see that, doesn't see that, and they're like, "Well, I'm waiting for you, dumbass." You know what I mean?
So, yes, like the person behind you is impatiently waiting for you to do your job and place the divider, and you're like, there is no fucking divider.
But I think that it is clearly, if this ever made it to the Supreme Court, I think it would, definitely side with the person waiting, putting their groceries on the conveyor belt. That person is in charge of getting the divider. Now, there are certainly people, and I know this because I've seen it. There are people that refuse to use the divider. They'll just, they'll wait for a big enough gap between your groceries and their groceries. I feel that those people that are non-dividers aren't necessarily like anti-maskers or anti-vaccinators or whatever, but I do think that they fall into a group of people, and I don't like to stereotype people or put them in a bucket, but I think I have no choice here.
You don't?
There's a great overlap with people that choose not to use the divider, and they are the people that if they have dogs, they also don't pick up their poo.
Yeah, agree. 100% agree. I think it is absolutely, without question, your job to put the divider down when you are done placing your groceries. I think it is 100% your job. I agree with you, Dave, that there are some people who just think, what do I need a divider for? This 6 or 8 inches of space is
especially sometimes
signifier.
where they only have like 4 or 5 items, or like it's clear that their items are very different than your items, but still.
Yes. I think that divider is the one thing keeping our whole fucking society in place. And I think if you don't place that divider down, you are an anarchist. You are letting your dog shit on my lawn and not picking up after it. And I'll say
it doesn't matter if they're anarchists. They're just going to get pardoned anyway. It's all good.
100% that's what's going to happen. So when I put on my groceries and they just have their Viking hats 6 inches away from my groceries, they just assume that it's a different order. I had this experience the other day where somebody overzealously literally walked around me to grab the divider and place it down when I wasn't even done putting my goddamn groceries down yet. Now, that's
Oh,
also a crazy person.
just to prove a point, basically, that you didn't do your job. Is
No,
that?
because I wasn't done with my job yet. She was
Oh,
just like, "You're done as far as I'm concerned." And I was like, "That's the
hmm,
other side of the spectrum." If you have your sort
Yeah.
of anarchist, anti-government people just like
And
not putting,
fascists. Those people are fascists.
those are fascists.
Yeah.
That's the two sides of the spectrum here.
I see that. But why are people so thirsty to put their stuff on the conveyor belt, though? It's not going to make it move
This
any
is a g
faster.
this is a good question.
It doesn't?
This is a good
The
question, actually.
stacking all of
This
a
is a
sudden
g
is
Well,
crazy.
I tell you what, I basically play Jenga. No matter how much real estate I have or little, I'm like a lion marking their entire territory. I'm marking my grocery food with or without the divider with how much food is being stacked. And
Here
also, I take great pride. I take great pride in um, shopping for my food in an organized fashion, right? So, like everything that should go together goes together, right? Like the eggs and the
Mm,
dairy,
Mm,
everything goes
hmm.
together like they're Lego pieces, you
mhm,
know?
mhm.
And I feel comfortable in stacking as high as I possibly can.
I'm sorry,
Mm.
you're saying to me that on the conveyor belt, you're not
If-
single layering, you're building vertically?
Oh,
Ugh.
the moment there's an opening, moment I see black, I'm stacking.
Ugh, this is the behavior I cannot get behind. This goes back to the why are you so thirsty to get your stuff on the conveyor belt?
The moment I see black, I start to stack. You gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. Like 4 inches opens up on the conveyor belt behind the divider, and you're just like,
It,
"It's go
well,
time."
no. I do save time because I don't have to wait for that slow ass fucking conveyor belt. So I just put it all in one single fucking line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think Noelle's
Hmm.
point is like you're never gonna be like slower than the person checking your groceries through, right? It's not like
Yeah.
they're not waiting for
No,
you.
no, but I can do other stuff.
Oh, you're trying to get back to your phone.
Yeah, I can look at the magazine that I'm never going to fucking buy.
Oh, brother.
I mean, Noelle, I do take your point of like, what's the rush to get your shit on there?
I always feel like it's also at a Target, a Costco,
Mhm.
places where no one's going to move any faster. We're
Yeah.
all working at the same rate.
What do you think about Dave's point though that it frees you up to look at your phone some more if you hurry up and get your shit stacked?
This is where we disagree.
Noelle's
The
front
extra
loading with the
2
time on the
minutes.
phone. She's
Yeah,
looking at the
it's
phone and
fine.
then waiting to stack. Okay.
I'm just saying, like, I want it. I want to blitzkrieg that conveyor belt. I want that conveyor belt not to know what the fuck hit it.
I
Let's
had no
go.
idea that this topic was going to be
So,
quite so fascist.
yeah, I mean, I'm an anarchist and a fascist simultaneous.
All right. The second topic of today's MOIF. Couldn't help but notice, Dave, as you were rehydrating from your current illness. For those watching on video, could you hold up the container you've been drinking out of here? Yes, that is. What are you imbibing there?
Uncle Matt's no sugar added lemonade.
Okay.
And it dawned on me this morning. I did not know I had norovirus, and I drank. It was full. I drank it, and then it dawned on me. I was like, huh. I should probably now drink it entirely so no one else gets sick.
So
What?
you, a sick person, started drinking out of the bottle, and then it occurred to you the only
I'm
way
the
to
only one in the house
okay.
right now.
Here's the MOIF question. When is it when you're not alone, if you live in a house, if you live in a shared living situation, whether with a loved one or roommates or whatever, when, if ever, is it appropriate to drink directly from the bottle? We'll start with you, Mr. Chang.
When you get to the lower third,
Meaning you might drink some out of it and put it back in the refrigerator,
no. This is when you can start drinking it out of the bottle.
and you have to finish it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What am I going to do? Once I pour that into a glass, right? Once I pour that into a glass, I only have like this much left.
Mhm.
You know, might as well save the environment.
So I'm of the same thought that if there's one, maybe 1.5 portions of liquid left in a container, you are not only within your right, but to Dave's point, the environmentally responsible thing to do is to not get out another
And I
glass
don't
and drink
understand
from
why
it.
I would waste a glass. Just it's already in a container.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Why would I want to pour it into another container?
Noelle, if you're down to the last, let's say, 2/3 of a cup of sugar-free lemonade, will you drink it out of the bottle?
Absolutely not, Chris. Absolutely not. I could be on the wrong side of history here, but there's something sad. It evokes a sad feeling to me of not pouring something out of the bottle. And I think that that probably comes from ice cream eating and ice cream out of the pint.
Oh,
There's a sadness to continuing to
you're.
eat something or
I
drink
see.
something out of a container that's so tethered to ice cream pints for me. So it's
You're
a no for me.
you're reading Dave's decision not to get a glass less as an act of environmental sustainability and more as a act of I've given up on life and I'm just gonna
Yeah.
eat from the container.
Yeah, pretty much. You've given up on an extra activity, pouring it into another glass. And I understand the environmental points. I'm not
No,
gonna argue
honestly, I
that.
don't give a shit about the environment. I said that as a total lie. There's just no way I'm gonna pour that into a glass.
Hmm.
Why? I don't understand. Out of it's now I lay claim to the real estate that is in this bottle. Like no one else is gonna drink it.
But
I-
Why would
can I
I?
ask you, if Grace is around, if she's just walking around, would you drink that last
No,
quarter?
and if the kids are sitting down and Grace is there, 100% I'm putting in a glass.
Ah,
because you've
interesting.
got to set an example. Or
Or
what?
even if the kids aren't there, I'm putting it in a glass.
So
Hmm.
so let me ask you this. Grace, you've never seen Grace drink out of the bottle.
Absolutely would never happen.
So then,
Not a chance in hell. Hell would freeze over before Grace would drink out of the bottle itself.
is this a guy thing? Would Jamie drink out of the bottle?
There is a 0% chance that Jamie would ever drink. I've known Jamie for 100,000 years, and I have never seen her bring the bottle to her lips. That's a no go.
I really can't think of many females that would do this exact thing.
I don't want it to be a gendered thing. I don't believe that's true.
No. I think what Chris and I are trying to say is we don't need you or anybody else to do it, to adopt it. We just want you to accept what we do as fact.
Just respect our right, okay? Just
Yeah.
respect our
Yeah.
freedom.
Respect it from the dark, though.
This
You
is-
don't want anyone seeing it. So why is it that you
I'm
won't let
doing it
other
right
people see?
now.
Because it's us. You're doing it in front of Chris,
Listen,
not in front of me.
he knows he knows he's got a friendly audience here to see this happen here. I will say though, I knew we were going to talk about this today, and I was on board for. I'm glad Dave explained this because I knew I was on board for the. I mean, god damn it, there's a cup left in here. I'm just gonna drink this thing. Like, what's the point of getting a glass?
Even if you don't want it.
Even if you don't want it, even if it's a little bit or 30% or 40% more than you want, you're just gonna drink it because it's the only act of freedom available to a man or a woman. But when I saw Dave drinking it, that bottle was fucking 2/3 full. And I was like, whoa.
That's big.
I'm not prepared to go there. But I'm glad you
Well,
finished
the
the whole
reason
thing.
I did was it dawned on me. I'm in solo and I drank this, and this is my son's favorite thing. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't put that in. Now I have to drink it.
Also, I just want to say for
Oh.
anybody who is watching this video, that bottle in Dave's hands might look like a smaller bottle, but this dude has big hands. That is a family-sized bottle of lemonade that our guy here just took down.
Yeah, I mean, again, like if I was a bachelor, I mean, listen,
Mm.
as a bachelor, I didn't even have silverware until Grace moved in. I didn't even own a plate. I had paper plates. Why would
So,
you need cups,
This is
when
all
you have
tracking.
bottles?
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh man. If I was a bachelor, is like, what was OJ's memoir? If I did it, if I was a bachelor, is basically the book we're
You know,
talking
like
about, right?
I don't need silverware because you know what? I order delivery and I would just collect all the plastic forks and knives and chopsticks. Like, you know,
Hmm.
You should get some kind of sustainability award.
I agree. I just think it's ridiculous that I have to pour it into a glass, and you know, I think that I'm being shamed into having to do something I don't need to do.
No shame.
That's all.
And I do want to say, if there are people out there who are, I want to hear
Not
from,
people, married couples or couples that are cohabitating,
yeah,
where it is not gender based.
yeah. I want to hear from the ladies who drink
Mm.
from the bottle. That's who I want to hear from. Ask Dave at
Yeah.
majordomomedia.com.
Horrible.
Please send your
Yeah, I want ladies or the other half that drink from the bottle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Noelle, like you seem
The
like
true
this
heroes.
is not even nonplussed. You're just like you are so embarrassed that you are partaking in this conversation at all.
I think it just reminds me of frat house behavior.
How is this frat house behavior?
It's the like frat house. You have to be very careful about this kind of thing.
Because you're hiding it?
I'm just this is as the crow flies. Like, why would I put it into another container? Tell me why. You know what? Give me one reason why I should pour, you know.
A family size of lemonade? I don't think I need to explain it.
Noelle's reasoning, and I can't necessarily argue with this, is that there is a tinge of sadness to it, and I do think when I'm drinking out of the bottle, there is a tinge of sadness to the act, and I embrace it.
You're also hiding it from everyone else. So I
They'll
think
never know.
deep down,
How am I hiding this? I'm telling the world it's okay.
Here's how it's not hidden. There's no difference. The only difference between I pour the rest of this bottle into a glass and then I drink it and I throw away the bottle is that there's a glass that I have to then put in the dishwasher.
Mhm.
If Jamie comes downstairs tomorrow and opens up the recycle bin and just sees there's a bottle in there, like, she's none the wiser. She doesn't know that I did
Sure.
anything different. It's all fine. There's no harm, no foul. You know, like, I think it's fine. The bottle's gonna end up in the trash anyway. I think you should. Here's the thing. I want to hear from the people out there.
Mhm.
I think you should just do it one time and tell us if you feel a certain level of freedom when you finish the bottle. Next time there's a bottle, what do you have a bottle of in your refrigerator right now, Noelle?
Nothing.
Nothing?
There's no beverage that's that big. Here's what I'll do.
Now we're being judged for real, Dave. Now we're really being
I
judged.
don't have a whole
I mean,
family.
Noelle, I've seen you eat candy out of a bag and snacks out of a bag. Why don't you put that in a bowl and then eat the snacks?
What?
Yeah.
They're individual size things. If they're not individual size things, I have put them in another bowl. Oh, why don't we do this? We'll actually get some kind of jug of some drink and we'll put it in the office fridge and we'll let it go and then
Okay.
I'll look at it when it's at a quarter.
We will
I'll drink it.
we will have this at the office. We'll have a
Mhm.
jug in the office. I will make sure everybody is there's an understanding that no one drinks the last portion of the jug.
Yeah.
And we'll let Noelle finish it and we will film it and we'll interview you
report
after
back.
the fact and we'll hear the whole thing. I'm into this.
I'm so upset that you guys think that there's even a tinge of sadness to this.
Is there what is there, Dave? It's just happy. It's just joy. It's just joy and freedom to you.
It's carpe diem, motherfuckers. That's what it is. All right. We're going to end this. Thank you, Noelle, for nothing. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to the show on Spotify or YouTube at The Dave Chang Show. Send us your voice memos and questions to askdave@majordomedia.com, where you can let us know, how you like to drink your beverages in the refrigerator. Give us 5 stars.